City News on TV Rotorua is proudly brought to you by Trade Central.
Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News. Police look into increasing the station's counter-operating hours. The local pillowcase project is set to help victims of Cyclone Pam. And we meet the new Central Bay of Plenty rugby manager Brendan Webby. Rotorua Police are looking into increasing the police counter-operating hours at the station. Currently, over-the-counter service is available between 8 a.m. and 5:45 p.m. weekdays. Crime and Prevention Manager Inspector Stuart Nightingale says police are exploring the feasibility of keeping the station counter open through Saturday and Sunday. Inspector Nightingale says Rotorua is a popular place for visitors and it makes sense to be available when people need their help the most. He says service first is a priority for local police. The Bay of Plenty Symphonia will present a variety of musical favourites at their Gypsy concert next week. The Symphonia was established in 2005 and draws on the talents of musicians from throughout the Bay of Plenty. Local member Anne Jacquerie says the Symphonia performs 3 concerts annually, with Gypsy kicking off 2015.
Yes, can you tell us a bit about what people can expect to see at the concert?
Thanks, yes. This is a Gypsy themed concert and we've chosen that because there's such a wealth of music from that genre. The Gypsy music is largely from Central Europe and some from Spain. There's familiar things like the songs from Carmen, which a lot of people know, and also a lot of the Gypsy music is quite virtuosic violin music, and we have a lovely violin soloist playing a couple of pieces for us, which will be great. So people can expect to hear a lot of themes that are quite familiar, and a lot of them are based around dances or folk dances. We've got the Brahms Hungarian dances, which a lot of people will know, and also a Liszt Hungarian Rhapsody, which isn't immediately familiar but has been used quite a lot as backing for cartoons and so on. So there are snatches of that are also quite familiar.
And Gypsy is on at the Sir Howard Morrison Performing Arts Centre next Saturday night, the 18th of April. The Pillowcase Project is a local initiative that's set to help victims of Cyclone Pam in Vanuatu. The project turns pillowcases into fashionable dresses and skirts, which will be donated to help relief efforts. Organiser Jane Parrington says previous pillowcase projects have been highly successful and she's predicting another great success this time.
At the moment I'm revisiting the project again a little earlier than I thought. I might do it later in the year, but with the cyclone in Vanuatu I thought, right, let's call the troops again, and people got on board and it's been fabulous. So this time the different thing that we're doing with making the clothing from pillowcases, mostly it's been skirts this time. Previously it was dresses, but for cultural reasons we chose skirts this time because when the children get to a certain age the shoulders need to be covered, and that's usually just after around about 5 years of age.
Yes. How can people support you in your work?
Well, they can give the church a call, or they can give me a phone call, and or they can email me. And the other thing is that they can just come here on the next 2 Monday nights after Easter. We've run 2 already. We had a break for Easter, and we're running the next 2 Monday nights from 7 to 9 down here. And we're open to anybody who'd like to come and have a go.
In sport tonight, this year's Rotorua Single Speed event will honour the 100-year commemoration of World War I with the hosting of the 2015 Anzac Single Speed Mountain Bike Championship later this month. Event organiser Gary Sullivan says the event is usually timed for around Anzac Day, with participants encouraged to attend dawn services at Ohinimutu.
In 2010 we secured the World Championship for single speeds, and that's an event that attracted nearly 1,000 riders from 35 countries, because Rotorua is such a renowned place for mountain biking that when people learned that the single speed worlds were here, they came. And that gave the society a real incentive to keep going. It's really cool. And this year we're having our championship on Anzac weekend. That's traditional for us, but we're calling it the Anzac Centenary Single Speed Championship, and we're really excited to be hosting it.
To your weather update now. Tonight, occasional rain with light winds and an overnight low of 16. Tomorrow, Friday, periods of rain with northwesterlies, a high of 20 and a low of 14. And looking out to Saturday, a few showers and fine spells, light winds, a high of 19 and a low of 10. In the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Friday, northwest 15 knots developing in the morning with waves less than half a metre, and there'll be poor visibility in periods of rain. Still to come in tonight's program, we meet Bay of Plenty Rugby Union's new Central Bay rugby manager. We have more on the Bay of Plenty Symphonia's latest production, Gypsy, and we find out about a breakfast and bubbles event being held to celebrate this year's Administrative Professionals Day.
City News on TV Rotorua is proudly brought to you by Trade Central. Well, the winter rugby season for 2015 is pretty much underway. Most of the Prem sides have had a bit of a run for a couple of weeks now, and things are looking quite good for the season. But one of the things that we're very excited about in terms of the rugby fraternity, I guess, is the fact that a new role has been established in our area for the Central Bay of Plenty rugby side, for the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union. Brendan Webby has taken on the role as the new rugby manager, and it's got a broad title to it that's got a broad meaning to it as well. So congratulations first of all on the role, Brendan. Bit of background from your point of view. Where do you come from? What have you been doing, and the role? What will the role entail?
Thanks very much. So me, I'm a dairy farmer. Been dairy farming for 20 years. I guess I come from a coaching background. Just first of all with JPC First 15, been coaching them for 3 or 4 years, and then last year I did the Bay of Plenty under-19s. Head coach of that. So, and previous to that, I'd done sub-union stuff with Central Bay under-15s, right through 16s, 18s, and then like I say, last year with the 19s, which culminated in the national tournament, which is an outstanding pathway.
A bit of history there, which is good.
Yeah.
Obviously a good grounding for what you're doing now. So how did the role come about, this rugby manager as such?
Yeah, so the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union undertook a pretty extensive strategic planning process over the last 18 months, where they obviously got feedback from key stakeholders, and as a result of all of that, they found the need to appoint a liaison or somebody in the Central Bay, and also a similar position in the Eastern Bay. And my main role is really about the community game, helping to grow the community game, volunteers, attracting and keeping volunteers, making sure they're happy, and also helping to implement better representative team successes.
I suppose a lot of it means connections, making connections for you, particularly early on in the role.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about relationships,
yeah.
I think, and relationships and communication. Those are probably the two key things. And I guess, flowing on from that, we'll have better results and keep the channels open.
So coming back to that connections thing and what your role is going to be involving, will you be working with the schools and the clubs in terms of meetings at night and development and coaching courses and courses as well?
Yep, yeah, that's exactly right. So everything from running Ripper rugby tournaments, and we're trying to introduce a Ripper rugby module for next term, start of next term, as a build up to the Ripper World Cup, which is pretty impressive.
Is there
stuff.
a Ripper World Cup? Pardon my ignorance.
There's a Ripper World Cup.
Wow.
So schools enter the Ripper World Cup, and they're given a country, aligned to a country. So the Central Bay is limited to 22 schools, and they get aligned their country. So it's really exciting actually. So from there they go to Baywide, and from Baywide the winner of that goes to national. So there's a national Ripper rugby tournament, which is held in Wellington.
Well, a great way to start though, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and that's about it. We're trying to develop a lifelong love of the game, and that's boys and girls obviously in the same team, and that's what it's about. So yeah, and back to your question, so my role is also involved with secondary schools and developing coaches, and we've had a couple of coaching sessions already, and Clayton McMillan and Rodney Gibbs have been outstanding. They're the Steamers coaches, obviously. They've been outstanding in bringing their expertise and their players to the sub-unions. We've been in Rotorua College, John Paul College, Western Heights.
And I suppose they're in a motivating role too, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. It's about building bridges, I guess, across the whole province, and also about upskilling those players and coaches, giving them the opportunity to come and learn more and develop. Sure. So we're continuing to grow the game.
So you've come in at a good time, and obviously there's going to be no room for boredom in your life at all, is there?
No.
Full on, you'll have a life in there somewhere.
Yep.
But we really appreciate the fact that they have seen the need for it, it's particularly here in the Central Bay area, and Rotorua even more particularly. So we wish you all the very best for the role, and we'll keep in touch and see how it develops. But you're quite hopeful that it's going to work, I think.
Oh, I think it will work, and like I said earlier, it doesn't happen overnight. So we're going to stick with it. It's exciting and it's new, and I think. I hope that it can only grow and be a fun and enjoyable experience for everybody.
Just quickly, how can people get in touch with you if they're keen?
Some of my details are on the website. And
it's the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union. Yep.
And just email me, Brendan at BOP Rugby, or phone numbers 027 241 7270, and more than happy to have a chat.
Always room for plenty of involvement, plenty more volunteers, plenty more referees, coaches and the like. But it sounds like we're off to a good start for the season. So if you can help, give Brendan and the team a bit of a call and say, hey, my hand's up.
Welcome back everybody to City News. Well, I'm outside the Municipal Concert Chamber now at the Sir Howard Morrison Performing Arts Centre, and I'm joined now by Anne. Kia ora, Anne. Kia ora. Lovely to meet you. Now you are going to be playing a violin very shortly in a very special concert. Could you tell everybody about it?
Thank you. Yeah, it is a special concert. This is a concert with the Bay of Plenty Symphonia. It's Bay of Plenty, but it's Tauranga based. But we have several Rotorua players, and this is the first time they've had a concert here in Rotorua. So we're very much looking forward to doing that on home turf and having everybody else come to Rotorua also.
And so how many people are in the orchestra?
The player list is about 65 all up, but there's not that many people involved in every concert, so somewhere between 35 and 40. And this time we have 6 Rotorua players, and at times there's been several others as well who've played for some concerts, but not for this one.
And so you are not only playing the violin in the concert, but you're also the master of it.
Yes, I'm relieving the concert master position. Our very good concert master Rebecca Beats, about to have her 3rd baby, so we're hoping she'll be able to play but not to do this role. So I've stepped in just as a temporary measure, that's right.
Well, it's very nice of you to do that, and lovely for a new mum to be able to know that she can possibly still play and have baby and do everything. So tell me a little bit about some of the music that you're going to be playing and what people can look forward to seeing.
This is a gypsy themed concert, and we've chosen that because there's such a wealth of music from that genre. The gypsy music is largely from Central Europe and some from Spain. There's familiar things like the songs from Carmen, which a lot of people know, and also a lot of the gypsy music is quite virtuosic violin music, and we have a lovely violin soloist playing a couple of pieces for us, which will be great. So people can expect to hear a lot of themes that are quite familiar, and a lot of them are based around dances or folk dances. We've got the Brahms Hungarian dances, which a lot of people will know, and also a Liszt Hungarian Rhapsody, which isn't immediately familiar but has been used quite a lot as backing for cartoons and so on. So there are snatches of that are also quite familiar.
So perhaps children might like to come along and they would enjoy it. Of course they would enjoy it. And I think it's a great thing to get children into. Musical instruments is wonderful.
Yes, the concert I think is a really good one for everybody really, and particularly for families, for children learning instruments, but also quite a nice way to see instruments which are thought of as more orchestral, classical music in a really fun way. So I think it is something that whole families will enjoy. Yeah.
And what about you? How long have you played the violin?
Well, I started playing the violin as a child of about 8 years old. I grew up in Wellington, and along with my older sister we went to Saturday morning music classes and learnt in groups for 2 or 3 years, and then when I wanted to keep going we had a recommendation for a teacher and it went from there.
Wow, and so here you are now. This is your violin, I presume. How long have you had your violin, and how special is it to you? Because I've got a feeling that they become almost like a child.
Well, I'm not so sure about that, but it is special to me. When I came back from working in Australia for some time, my old violin that I'd had since I was a teenager really wasn't repairable anymore, and so I had to get a new one, and that was quite a difficult thing. This is a New Zealand-made violin, made in Hamilton by a guy named Graham Thatcher, who's a Kiwi maker. So it is special. I'm the first owner of that, so I had it. It's not brand new, it's late 90s, but I am the first owner, so that was quite a nice thing to have a New Zealand violin, having lived in Australia for quite some time.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot now, and I'm going to ask you if you would consider getting your violin out and giving us just even a couple of little, what would you call them? You wouldn't call them strums on a violin, would you?
Not usually strums, usually played with the bow, although we do pluck as well.
So what do you call it when you just play the violin?
Yes, you just play the violin.
Could you play the violin for us just a little bit?
Okay.
Wonderful, thank you so much. So I'm sure that you weren't ready for that, but you pulled it out of the bag. Thank you so much.
It's one of the pieces we're playing. That's one of the Brahms Hungarian dances that finishes the first half.
Wonderful. So how long would it take somebody to be able to learn to play well? Because I've heard people that can't play the violin practicing, and it's a bit painful.
It is, and we have to thank our parents who put up with that growing up, don't we? But some are quicker than others. I think it's easier as a child. We have some people in our orchestra who took it up as adults because they wanted to so much, which I always admire. It's several years, really, I think. And then the thing is keeping it up to standard, because one slips back if you don't play so much. Yeah.
All right then, well, we're nearly over, but before we finish, could you tell us all how we can come along and see this show, where we go for information and tickets, and we do want to encourage everybody in Rotorua, if you have the time, to come along and enjoy this beautiful concert, because it is not very often that it happens, the first time in Rotorua. So how can we find you?
Yes, so this is the Bay of Plenty Symphonia Gypsy Concert. There's billboards up around town and posters in various places. The tickets are available through at the Howard Morrison Centre and through Ticketek. There's a concert on Saturday the 18th of April here in town at 2:30, so it's an afternoon, so it doesn't take the evening or the whole day. People get home in daylight.
Absolutely beautiful, lovely to meet you, and good luck.
Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you all there.
Absolutely, all of you. Kia ora, welcome back again to City News. I'm at Ridges now, and I'm going to be talking with this lovely lady sitting next to me, Mary Erickson, from the Association of Administrative Professionals of New Zealand. Kia ora, I got it out in one go. So tell me a little bit about the conference that you've just had.
Well, we had a regional conference here in Rotorua at Ridges. We had about 20 people attend, and we had a seminar with Lieta, and she did a whole lot of work around goal setting and time management. So we learnt a lot of skills. We learnt to actually plan for your goals or they don't happen, and we learnt how to then execute our goals in a timely manner. So hopefully we'll all learn from that and be able to get through our list of work to do. And
well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because the administrators always have the list of things to do, don't they?
Absolutely, and the administrator has not only one list but several lists and several hats. So that's what's really important.
And often several lists from several people, all wanting lots of
Absolutely.
jobs done. So tell me a little bit about the administration type aspect of a business, because I have to say I've never been an administrator for a business. I've never even run a business. To me, from the outside, it would seem like quite a scary work. You'd have to be very organised.
It's quite a multi-skilled work, especially how things have evolved over the years. I think our organisation is called Association of Administrative Professionals of New Zealand, used to be called Secretaries Association. So even from the name we've evolved. We have to have lots of different skills. It's not just the front line answering the phone. Administrative professionals actually encompass from really management right through to frontline staff. So you have to sort of be able to think on your feet, and also, like you say, have several managers perhaps asking different tasks, and they all like things done different ways. So it is really taking control of things and going for it.
And where do you train for that kind of thing?
There is training for administrators, but it's like doing a business degree. It's not absolutely specific training, it's quite generic. So you do learn a lot of skills on the job.
So the conference was a success. How many people came along?
Absolutely. We had, it was just a small group, about 20 people, but when you're doing small workshops, that was a great number. Yeah, no, it was a real success.
Could you tell us what the next thing is coming up that people in Rotorua can look forward to? I think you've got a breakfast happening.
We've got an amazing thing happening. We've got what's known as AP Day. Each year we celebrate all over New Zealand Admin Professionals Day, and this acknowledges all the administrators in your workforce. And here in Rotorua we are going to have a breakfast here at Ridges, so it's on the 23rd of April. From about 7:15 if everybody arrives, and then everybody goes off to work by 8:45, 8:45. So it's a pretty fast breakfast. We've got an amazing guest speaker, and we've also got lots of things happening, lots of giveaways. We've had amazing sponsorship from businesses in Rotorua. It's going to be a themed event with a lovely young lady who's starting her own theming company, The Final Touch, so she's going to do the theming for us. And we've got Pam Jenkins doing the flowers and centrepieces. So it's a real local get together, and we've got selling tickets now for $30 a head, so it's a really affordable breakfast for people to bring the administrators and also management to come along as well. So.
And it's a bit of a celebration, isn't it? A celebration of the administrators, because they don't often get acknowledged, do they?
No, we're often the ones organising everybody else's events, so this is something for us.
Yeah. A little bit like the crew and a cameraman. The presenter gets all of the credit, but actually there's a cameraman behind that works very hard. We love Graham.
Absolutely, Graham.
So thank you so much for spending some time with us. Just to finish now, could you let everybody know when, where and how to get there again, and also if they're not a member, can they come along or can they participate?
Yes, anybody can come along. It's open to anyone, and it's going to be at Ridges on the 23rd of April. They can get tickets by emailing me at maryerickson@extra.co.nz, or they can ring on 0274 30 663.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mary, and good luck.
Thank you.
That was Mary Erickson talking to Kitty Danielle. To contact City News, you can phone TV Rotorua on 0734 88 984 or email news@tvrotorua.co.nz. Thanks for joining us tonight. From all the team here at City News, Ko Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News on TV Rotorua was proudly brought to you by Trade Central.